It's old news that our current levels of greenhouse gases are causing dangerous climate change. That's why we need to bring our emissions to zero as soon as possible. But some people suggest that instead of everyone cutting their own emissions, people or companies can pay others to reduce or avoid emissions instead. This is called carbon offsetting and comes in several forms. Avoidance offsets involve paying someone else to not emit. For example, paying to preserve a forest from being felled, or to build a wind farm rather than a new coal power station. But such offsets can actually make things worse. Buying an offset gives you a permit to emit a certain amount of carbon, but very few offsets can actually guarantee that they reduce emissions by that same amount. Why is that? Well, often the activity might have happened anyway, even without any payment from the offset. And the benefit might not last. A protected forest might still be logged illegally or be destroyed by wildfires. At their very best, avoidance offsets can help reduce emissions by moving from two sources of emissions to only one, but they can never eliminate emissions. In theory, removal offsets could be more helpful. They involve paying for someone to actively remove carbon from the atmosphere. That could be through nature-based methods like forest restoration and better soil management, or technological solutions like capturing carbon and storing it underground. However, nature-based methods are not necessarily permanent. Carbon stored in soils would be quickly lost if the farmer ploughed the fields again, and the technological solutions have not yet been tested on a large scale. Relying heavily on them would be a gamble. Furthermore, all types of offsets can have negative social and environmental effects. For example, planting trees on great swathes of land for carbon capture may affect biodiversity and local communities. Besides, there are negative effects of fossil fuel usage that won't be solved through offsets, such as oil spills and air pollution. This is why we need to cut emissions as much as we can. There will of course be some emissions, like methane from rice paddies, that we can't get rid of. In order to reach what is known as net zero emissions, we'll need to balance these unavoidable emissions with additional removals above and beyond what nature is already taking up. But who decides which emissions are unavoidable? If we leave that decision to the offsets markets, it will simply provide an opportunity for the wealthy to continue to emit. Offsets will not solve our problems. Instead, they are a distraction from real solutions and delay the transition to a fossil-free society. Let's say yes to protecting and expanding natural ecosystems, accelerating the renewable energy rollout, and developing carbon removal technology, but through direct investment and incentives instead of through unfair and unreliable offsetting. Let's cut emissions at their source by keeping fossil fuels in the ground and find truly sustainable ways forward.